Well, as a director, what exactly do you look for in a script? Does the spiritual content, is that the primary driving force for you, or is it something other than that, or maybe a combination of things?
I get my spiritual fill in a number of different ways. I don't always, it's definitely not the primary thing I look for in a script. But I like that journey, and those themes keep coming up in my work, and that's because, I did, my first year directing, I did Kirk Franklin's Stomp, which was the first, gospel song to ever be played on MTV, and it became a buzz clip. Then, like, as time went by, it's like, next thing I know, I'm doing Mary Mary, Shackles, that song for those girls. I'm like, wow, this keeps coming up. Then I did Kirk Franklin again, and then boom, Diary popped up, and I'm like, obviously there's something that those themes keep coming up, and then they just sent me, I didn't end up doing it, Catherine Hardwick is doing it, but they sent me this script called Nativity, which is basically the story.
This is the one that New Line's putting out this December about Mary.
They had sent me that, and they were all excited, but they really wanted a female perspective. So I definitely don't, shut those themes down, but they also just gravitate, and I don't turn them down at all. But I like stories that have heart, and I like stories that are well-rounded and take you on a journey, and I like to cry and laugh, and the little bit of the difficulty I'm having now is I did Diary, and everybody's shoving me like these like B-rated urban comedies now. And I won't name any names, but we all know a few, and I'm just like, no, 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 no. I've turned down everything because that's just not what I want to do. I want to be caught in that wheel. But, movies that I like, I'm a huge Michael Mann fan. Because the tone of his stuff is real kind of eerie. I love Ron Howard's movies because they're like wholesome and well-rounded and take you on this great journey, like A Beautiful Mind and Cinderella Man, and, that's this type of movies I want to make. So I'm waiting, I'm waiting. There's a couple things pending.
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that. I've got a number of director friends who are African Americans, and up until 5 years ago, one of the frustrating things was they would be offered what you were saying is that you would get these grade B low budget hip hop films, and they just felt like, no, I want to. One director in particular, a friend of mine, who said, look, I want to be George Lucas. That's, I mean, you don't want to just go back and do these, you don't want to be Roger Corman, like the modern day Roger Corman. So now, fast forward, just recently, last couple of years, you mentioned Tim Story doing the Fantastic Four. Antoine Fuqua has done a few films under his belt, which are not traditionally just simple African American films. But and then you have Gary Gray, and then recently Spike Lee. This wasn't, Inside Man wasn't a Spike Lee joint. That was a mainstream film. So what do you see now? Do you think that it's changing for African American directors?
It's been changing slowly, and I think that the opportunity's always been there. It's just, I don't think there'll be that many more, but maybe there'll be more black directors. I don't know. Gary Gray, the thing is, he did Friday, and then he kind of really held out, and he said, I'm not going to go do, I want to define myself with this second film, and then he just set it off, then Negotiator, and then A Man Apart, and Italian Job, and then Tim Story did the same thing too. He did Taxi, but he got lucky and got something else, and then with Spike Lee.
What took him so long?
Because Spike just be on some other stuff, I like Spike, but I don't like all his stuff because it's like, not again. Like, you kind of expect, it's just very predictable, you want to you want each film to be a little bit different. It can have a signature in it, but has to be a little bit different. And The Inside Man, it was just a good script. It was commercial, and I just think that, he didn't have these like weird cliffhanger kind of endings that were kind of abstract and out there. It's like, oh, okay. And the themes made sense.
Let me ask you this question. Are you an HD guy or a film guy? There's two camps. You've got Martin Scorsese in film and Steven Spielberg, who refused to absolutely touch the new video. And you've got guys like Bryan Singer using the Genesis camera on Superman Returns. You've got George Lucas, Robert Rodriguez. So which camp do you fall into, and why?
I don't know. That technology is still real new, and you know, I deal with some of it, but I'm still a little bit old school. I like to see it like projected, and I think a lot of other people do too. You know, it's either gonna save the film business or destroy the film business. You know, and I think right now, you know, it definitely needs some saving. I'm not sure if that is it. You know, because between DVDs and like downloadable movies and the iPod things, it just seems like there's just too many forms, you know, too many ways to watch movies now. You kind of lose the experience of coming to a theater and sitting down and putting it up on the screen. So I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go, and I don't really have any ideas of my own what would be good. Personally, I don't want to watch a movie on something like that. You know, the kids do. It's actually saving, you know, I think it's doing well for the music video market, because I was really struggling, and now they get like $2-3 a pop for these music videos, and because for a while they didn't really have a reason to make them anymore. And MTV has become more programming than music videos. So
here's something that would be interesting. I'd like to hear. A number of years ago, Eddie Murphy threw out one of these random influences. He said, you know, I'm a big, huge Elvis Presley fan. Do you have something like that, like an influence you can give me that would be so strange that you would think, wow, I can't believe that Darren Grant was influenced by that?
You know, Neil Diamond songs.
Neil Diamond.
You need Love on the Rocks. You know, Love on the Rocks. Ain't no big surprise. Pour me a drink and I'll tell you some lies. You know, 'cause that's what's it called? The Jazz Singer. Great movie. Love that movie.
Great.
Thank you.